And action, and welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 234. It is 29th of January. Pretty soon it's February, and pretty soon it's summer, and then it's Christmas again, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's how the year works. Anyway, in the PnP Weekly, I was talking about the latest Microsoft 365 and related technologies like Power Platform and GitHub and whatever, the Microsoft Cloud and Azure and all of that stuff. But we typically also have a visitor, and this time our visitor is
Ejaz Hussain, who is a developer architect at Advania in the UK. He's also a newly minted MVP.
Yes, he got the MVP like 2 weeks ago, which is awesome on the Microsoft 365 developer. Well, Microsoft 365 is the MVP group, and then he's been on the developer extensibility side of Microsoft 365 for a long, long, long time, and it's awesome to have new people getting awarded based on their contributions. And we talk about that one. We talk about also about his day-to-day career, the impact of AI, all of that stuff within the interview. Before we go there, just to recap, use PnP hashtag, PnP Weekly hashtag in Twitter or in LinkedIn. So we get to know what you're sharing or what you're building and creating. We do have quite a few articles today to go through as well, but we're always looking for more, so we're able to promote what people are doing and sharing across the community. But I guess that's it for the quick intros. Let's jump on the interview with Ejaz. Excellent. Let's get actually moving on this PnP Weekly episode. Waldek, I'm watching it. Episode
234.
34. Okay, thank you. You're nowadays prepared for this question. So
I'm taking notes, which is kind of why.
Yeah, yes, that's true. But yeah, in the this time, as we mentioned in the intro, we'll have Ejaz Hussain in the call. Ejaz, let's start with basics. Who are you and what do you do for a living?
Hi. First of all, thanks for having me on the call, guys. I'm really honored. So my name is Ejaz Hussain. I'm a developer architect working for a company called Advania UK. It used to be Content and Code, and then Content and Cloud, and now it becomes Advania recently. I specialized in Microsoft 365, Azure, Power Platform. So I work across all these three areas, mainly Microsoft 365 platform.
Yeah. And you're a fresh MVP.
And yes, I'm fresh MVP this year, awarded. Yes.
Like 2 to 3 weeks ago in whatever January. It was a weird day. It wasn't 1st of January. It was January 9th or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
typically it's the first day of the month, but whatever reason we
January 1 is off. So, however, I recall when 12 years ago,
every single day is off in one of the countries within the world. So let's be clear on that. So,
but I recall when I became an MVP. That was also on January 1, I believe, and that was like 15 years back. And I got the email like 3 p.m. It's like, no, like that's got to be a joke. Like somebody is pulling a prank. And then you log in and it's like, it's working. Oh my God, that's so cool.
I think it was a bit of a surprised email came through, because we received an email that due to some workload, we might get announcement or find out the outcome in February. So I said, okay. Then we said, okay, we're a little bit laid back. Okay, like we will probably see in February. Nothing gonna come in January.
Yeah.
And then suddenly this email came in. Oh yeah, that's like, okay, that's the best start of the year. Yeah, is it real? Yes.
And then you check like the sender domain name. Check if it's phishing email. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
No, definitely the best start of the year you could ask for when you get this email.
Yeah. Really, really cool.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Congratulations, that one. Really, really cool. Well deserved as well. You've been actively involved within the community and community calls and demos all the time. So definitely. And contributions within the sample area. So really, really cool that you're getting that award as well.
Maybe as we are on the topic already, how did that come to be? Like, did you wake up one day and it's like, hey, I'm gonna help folks, everybody else out there, I'm gonna share my experience, or did you how did that path came to be with you ending up as an MVP?
I think it's down to the my habit of like, I wanted to learn. It's like something is in me, like I have a passion for learning and doing something new or all the time. So improving on what already I know. And this is also, this habit of also helped me to drive my career towards where I wanted to be today. So back in 2017 or 2016, I joined it used to be called Content and Code, and then on Advania UK. So I started like working on it, and then I met. I was reading about Chris O'Brien, and that's probably my first inspiration to see him, how he contribute and into the community, etc. And and learning from his knowledge within the company, as well as I started to see his blog post, and a blog post coming from Waldek, from yourself, and things like that. So that is when I started, okay, there's so much content out there, people putting out there, and it's really, really good and knowledge source that I can learn from. And this was my first step. Okay, I want to learn this thing, and then I started slowly contributing it as well to the community, but not to that pace. And then I said, okay, you know what? I think I'm at the point, I've learned a little bit things, and now I think it's probably the good time I can start contributing back to the community. So these are the guys who are my inspiration. So I started learning, contributing, and then I built some pace from there. And then I remember getting some notification on my Twitter every January 1st, as you mentioned. Some people get MVP award, and I started telling myself, you know what? Next time I'm gonna get this email on the next generation, and this year I'm gonna put more effort and more contributing to this. And so these are my kind of a motivation behind to get to this point.
Yeah, and it's a long journey for sure. And again, coming back on Chris O'Brien is a great example of somebody who's been actively involved with the community and still writes his blog on a relatively frequently, not on a weekly basis necessarily, but still sharing his knowledge and all of that, like Waldek does, still using his blog and writing things.
Having a noob in my team, so we work in the same team. So that's another inspiration. So he got, and then that's also motivated me. Like, I think it's the time to put more effort into it and kind of go for it.
What was what was the idea behind it becoming a goal, an objective? Like, why didn't you want to become an MVP?
I think I always like go for, okay, I want to learn get the command on the topic first. So once I've got the command on the topic, I'll do some practical, demos or experience, build something, and then I want to put always forward myself either with sharing things with the community, so I can be more confident when I'm sharing stuff. I'm more confident. I have something under my belt. I work on it, so it helped me as a person. It's helped me to present better and share things better. So the idea is also to, my content, is it going to be helpful for the rest of the community or not? Am I making sense on this one? Is it going to be beneficial? So that is the always goal whenever I try to do something. So I was waiting for that point where, okay, let me get to the point where I can feel like I think that's probably the right moment now to go for it.
Yeah. Do you recall still your first time when you shared something in the open? Because like for many folks, sharing something in the open is a huge step, like, oh my God, I'm gonna, my code isn't all the great. I'm gonna share my stuff in the open, and people will criticize it. Will it be good or bad? So do you still know your first activity kind of in the open where you shared your things, either article or sample, and your thoughts about it then?
I think so. I wasn't nervous about what people will say. That's definitely doesn't come in me, that get nervous. But I was in a mind frame. Okay, that might not be the best demo I can at the moment, but how can I go to the next one from here? So that's how I was thinking at the point. So yeah, so and getting some recognition from Vesa on off, I think that's helped and motivate me and the rest of the teammates who were with us is amazing, because even probably is not the best in the world in the demo, but you get some recognition and then that motivates you more. Okay, you know what? Let's do some more nicer thing in the future.
Yeah. So like always improving, right?
Yes. The key is to stay. I would always say that it's the step by step, one step at a forward, because again, it's nobody is a master on whatever we present when we start doing that. But with the repeating, whatever, repeating, you'll get better and better and better, and then you get more confident, and the confidence actually is visible as you present, and you'll get more, presenting as well. So it's the step-by-step mentality is definitely helps. So and it helps. I would say it helps in a life as well. So it's not just on the demos, but it's patience, and step by step we'll get there. So it's not that we're winning everything like a snap of a fingers, even though
it was.
Would hope so.
It was the other day. There was somebody who said like be patient on the macro scale, like have a long time horizon, but be really impatient about now. Ship, do things now. Like really get things out there now. But be aware of it that it's going to take a while for it to really land.
Yes. And whatever you're getting there could be smaller things, but again, it's one step at a forward. As long as you have the direction in the horizon is the correct. You're not heading backwards. It's good. So
now that you are an MVP, and I realize I'm putting you totally here on the spot. What's next?
Next, probably, I think the one thing I haven't done a lot, I think, is to speaking in some of the user groups around this country or across or other countries, or in the conferences. So speaking is something I probably is the next is in my things to do.
Which is a good stepping stone again forward on if you want to do that. And again, we need to remember that for anybody who's watching this or listening, it's like, well, I don't want to do presenting, which is completely fine. You can still contribute and you can grow within your career and everything else. But for those who wanna do and learning that speaking thing, there's a lot of opportunities on that as well. And then that helps within the day-to-day work, because I still remember when I started as a consultant in Microsoft, few years back, that the learning to take the room and being open for the feedback as you're presenting and all of that, you need to have that practice, and going to the conferences actually helps on that as well. So
and also probably the hardest part, the hardest part for some folks, right? Like it's one to be on stage and have like so many pair of eyes looking at you, being asked stuff. Like you're out there on stage by yourself, like you're alone often.
True.
And then you're being asked a thing which you might not know. Oh my God! Like how do you deal with that? Is also a muscle you need to flex.
True.
I think I can see the my initial journey to this speaking is going to be very, very interesting, because when you start, as you said, I'd be okay when I get on the stage, the nervousness goes. So I love talking to people. I love sharing stuff. And that is kind of helped me. So even there are 100 people or 1,000 people, as long as I know what I'm talking about and they're going to be 100 questions, I don't mind. I can even spend more time with them than the scheduled session time with the people. So as long as I know I'm confident that the topic I'm sharing with them, I'm going to give them something to take away from the room. So that's where I wanted to be. So go with the prepared yourself, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have to say that it's at least for me, I've done a few times presenting here and there. It's easier to do presenting in a larger audience than a smaller audience, because the smaller audience, you can actually relate on the people level, and you if you're an empathetic person, you can actually see the people and you're reacting on a people. When it's a bigger stage, it's just mass, and you don't present to individuals, you present for the bigger audience, and there's a big difference on that. The initial reaction might be like, oh my god, 1,000 people, but again, you don't see the faces, you don't react on individual people. When there's 20 people in a room, something like, let's say, the Microsoft Certification Master Program, where we presented in Redmond at some point, that's much more, in quotes, horrifying, because you know that the skill level within the room is massive. So therefore, you better bring your A game, because otherwise they will laugh you out from the room. So, well, not that people would laugh you out of the room, but again,
instructor at MCM, that already gives you, like, you earned your stripes for being in the room.
Sure, but again, nonetheless, I think it comes back on imposter syndrome and all of that as well. But dealing with that, and imposter syndrome in these kind of cases can actually be an energy director or energy source, which basically means, coming back on what Ejaz was just saying, that you actually drive that imposter syndrome drives you to be even better, because you want to make sure that you actually provide the A game and you want to provide value for the audience. And quite often that means that you're overthinking anyway, because you would be providing value with less prepared, but still better be proper prepared than not. So,
Ejaz, you mentioned that you always try to find new things and interesting things for the audience. What are you working on these days?
I've been working on Microsoft Graph Connector, which thank you so much to you to point me to the right direction for some of the things. I think I met Waldek and Vesa on the last conference in Amsterdam. So I wanted to, I built some Graph Connector before, but then I said, okay, when I saw that sample, Waldek referred me to where we can kind of build some scheduling around and crawling around that as well, your content. So I followed that, and I said, okay, I think we don't have anything in .NET and C#. So I only had the JavaScript side, and so let me build that one. So it might not be exact copy of that, but I think I started smaller, and then I basically bringing all the things which the Waldek team has implemented with the admin, Microsoft Team admin experience. And then that triggered, and then you triggering some timer functions to on demand, so things like that. So I hooked up everything together, so which I will be presenting in the next call in February.
Really cool. So what was your first impression of the connectors and kind of the mechanics that we've got in place to manage them and develop them?
I think it's really cool. I mean, they're always kind of there's a room where if we're able to bring external data, because internal data is in Shape Office 365 is pretty much covered with Microsoft Graph, with Copilot now, and so the external data was the challenging part, and Microsoft Graph has opened, connector has opened the lots of potential opportunities now to bringing potentially data from everywhere, on-prem, from your external systems, and then you are the owner of that data. Which data you want to present in the Office 365? Not everything can't be simply. We can't just turn on the indexing and bring everything inside. So you structure that data in and put the permission on every single item, and then say, okay, this is the data is coming from, and then this is, and then you can basically work on kind of build some layout of how you want to present that to the audience, and then I think the good thing with connector is Microsoft Graph Connector is also once you got ingested the data, Copilot already knows that.
True.
Yeah.
So that is a plus point. So you get the custom data from your third-party system, and the Copilot already know that you can basically build plugins and talk to your custom data or something from there on, etc. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's I think it's super important also to understand, even though most of the people we were more and more in a cloud, but there are still, for example, on-premises systems, and you can absolutely ingest the on-premises system data to SharePoint and Microsoft 365 using the Graph connectors with Azure and connecting the on-prem and get the data in, and then your employees, wherever they are, they have access on that information, even though originally it sources from on-premises. But again, you can select what data will be ingested, the search, and what is being exposed with Copilot and all of that. So there's a lot of interesting scenarios there for sure. So
now you mentioned, and another thing that I want to ask, you mentioned that there are some challenges, or there have always been challenges about bringing external stuff to Microsoft 365. Like, what are some of the most common things you come across, and do you see them? Is that addressed in connectors, or is there still room for improvement?
I think it's with the when we looked at the previously external data, first thing we came into mind was, okay, could we take them to the Azure SQL DB, and then we build some SPFX application to call that, or use Azure functions. So we go that route first. But now, and it was not in the search whatsoever. And now what happened is, so you ingest the data, you have you build your crawling, and then you putting data in the ecosystem of the Office 360, Microsoft 365, and that it was not previously there, and that was struggling. So data will still be outside. We were just using some different techniques like Azure function, or to bring that data back in via some custom application. So yeah, that was not part of the data, was not part of the actual ecosystem of the Microsoft.
Right. So in other words, you bring data to users, right? You bring data where folks actually are, as opposed to you bring it halfway there, but then you still need to do that last step. Okay, like, how will people actually see the data?
Yeah,
true. Which is, again, that's an option, but again, there's advantages and disadvantages in both sides. So it's an evaluation of those options. What is the right way of doing things? And I love the fact that with the Graph connectors, you have that Copilot dimension there for those who are enabling Copilot as well, which is really, really cool. How do you see, Ejaz, the age of AI and Copilots and plugins and all of that? Are you seeing customers being interested, and what are you seeing from your side?
I think
getting built?
I think is a huge interest in overall AI from the business point of view. Is a huge interest. People tend to go toward, businesses are going towards where they are adopting this slowly into the business processes. And I think there will be a time when this will be a kind of the AI will be part of our life at the businesses and jobs, and that we cannot live without that, because it's saving lots of our time to do things which we used to do manually. So it's a lots of interest from people. Either it could be a ChatGPT, Copilot. And Copilot is being recently released, so it will be lots of customers. New requests will be coming in from the business request. But definitely AI overall has lots of interest from the people. And personally, from talking about the Copilot, is I started using the GitHub Copilot, and I'm not sure I would ever go back not using it.
So it is actually helping and making you productive. Then, just to be super clear on that,
it's helping. Yeah, exactly. It's a very productive. Yeah. So
and I would say GitHub Copilot is a great example of Copilot and the AI getting integrated in the flow of the work, which is a classic term what we're using in a lot of the things. Because again, it's not that you need to go to another chat. No.
Yeah.
As you are working, it is helping you seamlessly, rather than going to a separate, chat window and asking questions. No. As you write stuff, it's there. It's all the time doing things, and that's probably something what we see more and more. Of course, the chat window and asking things that's understandable to understand, or kind of conceptually, it's easy to understand. This is how it works. However, as we move forward from this to 12 to 24, 36 months, whatever, we'll probably see more and more the AI being natively integrated as I do operations. So it's not just the chat UI, or maybe it is a chat UI as well. But again, so we'll see how this evolves. It's going to be really interesting. So.
Yes, yeah.
And another thing I want to ask, right? Because you mentioned AI, right? And you mentioned Copilot that you use every day. How did, like, if you look back, how did it change the way you work? What kind of behaviors and new things did it bring you?
As overall AI or the
anything you use, whether that's ChatGPT, Copilot, GitHub Copilot, whatever you use.
So if I have to, what I'm doing is with AI being in there, if I and the Copilot is available now, I don't have to start everything from the scratch. So I have something I can talk and kind of do brainstorming. And then start from there. So that's
rubber
really
duck,
helpful.
Basically, right?
So yes, if I, like, for example, I need some brainstorming about, okay, I'm presenting this presentation on this topic. I need some words, I need to write down. So, what possible option I have, things like that. Like, I can brainstorm with someone, and that is really, really helpful. And it saves lots of my time, and I don't have to start from scratch. So always something is there to start with.
Yeah, that is really cool. Like, if I look at myself, I think it changed two main things. Like, one is I have fewer questions that stay unanswered. Like, the other day, my son, who is 10, asked, like, hey, like, I often dream and I don't know in the morning what I dreamt. Like, hey, let's see if there are tips, like how can you retain your dreams? Or you can ask them, it's like, hey, like, there are a few tips you can do, like things you can, like, basically like simple things like that, where in the past it was like, I don't know. And that would be it, right? So it's like,
what's the difference between Google with that question? Just have to ask, because again, my
because
immediate reaction would be
difficult. Because yes, you can search for things, but then you need to plow, like, there's so much more effort going, where as opposed to I have a simple thing to answer that I'm not running, a research on, so I am not that much invested, but I want to have a simple answer. It's a simple thing. I just want to know, and it's enough. And I don't need, a dissertation, research, whatever. I don't need any of that. Right? So just simple things that are random, again, like not related to specific area of my work, just like, why is this like that? Why are things, just asking stuff. And then another thing is, if I look at me, I think it's a little bit of impatience. Like, I have a script. It's like, hey, change this, like rename, like in Bash, rename all file extensions from this to that. I can just ask a thing and I will have script available immediately, as opposed to go search for something like, what is the command to rename, how to iterate. Like, I don't care about, like, I don't need to know that. I have a task to accomplish that is in my way to accomplish something else. Let me just, like, get rid of this. So kind of this instant thing, like, okay, I can instantly fix the issue that I have that is on my way to really accomplish what I need to accomplish, as opposed to that being the goal. So I think it's interesting to see how it changes the way, at least I think.
Yeah, it's definitely. I personally, I'm really bad with coming up with some interesting name of my variables when I'm coding, and
naming things is hard.
Naming things, and I always like hard on myself. Like, what, that is no pretty name. Like, must be some suggestion. So I always ask, okay, here is my variable name. Can you give me some suggestion which make it like? And literally, I do use that type of things, and.
But that's a good example of brainstorming. So having somebody to brainstorm and throw your ideas, and that's what we need all the time. And well, absolutely. Even though AI isn't a human, it's better than nothing. So you have something to have a chat, and the fact that it's able to have that human-like discussion with you and brainstorming and such as things, it's absolutely brilliant. So really, really
also,
cool.
And it is great, especially like for the thing you mentioned about naming. I think it's great because you can prime AI to behave in a given way. So you can tell it, you are junior dev.
Yes.
And look at your code from that point of view as like, hey,
Correct.
what isn't clear about this code, which helps you to write clearer code that you will be able to maintain more easily over time, as opposed to like, this is the way I think, I just blurb it, commit it, and then somebody else might or might not catch it based on their experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Now let's briefly switch the gears a bit before we were running out of time again pretty soon, because there's always too much to talk about. But let's talk a bit about your work to work. We talked about community, AI, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
What does the Advania actually do, and how does your normal workday look like? So what does it mean in practice to be, was it software architect or Microsoft 365 architect?
Yeah, so I think we are Microsoft Gold partner. Advania is Microsoft Gold partner, and I might not justify to with Advania if I kind of there's a huge list of services and of products and services we provide across the whole the IT sector. But we as so I work in a professional services team. And within professional services department, we have a dev team. So we mainly focus on custom build applications and softwares. So my day-to-day work is involved. So and that is a consultancy base, as I said previously. So I've been involved in consultancy from last 2016 onwards. So my day works I'm working on might be one day, or it depends on the project I'm working on for the client. So might be the 1 month project or few weeks project, might be a 2 days project. So might be at the moment currently I'm working for a long-term client who with us. So and that is on Microsoft 365 and SPFX and applications we have built for them, custom application we built for them. So my day-to-day work is also depend on which client I'm working on. What type of and where we are in terms of their project. So either we have to talk to them directly, have some stand-up meetings, go through what is left to do, inform them and what about the progress, what has been accomplished, how etc. Get in touch with the rest of the teams like solution architects, project managers. To make sure they are in line with the dev team, like how far things has gone for. So yeah, so that's and also we contribute and share knowledge within the team as well. Why there is a weekly meetings, or we want to have one-to-one session, or if you need some hand holding, we can go and talk to some seniors guys. Guys, we got this issue. How can we help? So that's my day-to-day work look like.
Yeah, and do you actually go to off? What's the percentage of working remotely, or?
Yes, that was like right. Okay, so yeah, working remotely since previously we used to go every day to the offices, but since with the COVID, so we aim to go.
What is this COVID? Day. I can't remember any of that stuff.
Okay, that was like yeah. I think we don't want to even remember this again. So yeah, it's we're going nowadays. We're going for we aim to go like once a day to the offices.
Once a day? No, once a week, right?
Once a week. Sorry.
Yes,
once a week. Yes, once a week. So once a week, 1 day a week. I wanted to say 1 day a week. We go to offices, and the rest of time I work from home.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to ask, other than say that it's apparently March 1429th, 2020.
I think we passed that already. I think we lost 1.5 years of our lives. We'll never get that back. But then all of a nobody remembers any of that time anymore.
No. Anyways, what I wanted to ask, right? Like, you are an architect. Architect means that, at least to me, that you design solutions that land and integrate on Microsoft 365, right?
Yeah.
Which means that what building blocks are there on Microsoft 365 all up across all the different things, and Azure across all the different things you can use. How do you stay up to date with all of that?
Well, that's interesting. I was I asked the same question to. We had an internal meeting with Chris O'Brien, has a one-to-one session within the company, like that do like a senior leadership team. So that's the same question asked to Chris O'Brien. Said like, how do you do that? Like, with the keeping up to the. So I think the question you have to see the things which are they are highly likely to be used within your day-to-day work. For example, the technology areas. Like, for example, if I know the SPFX, I know in Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams and Azure, these are things that will be used and might be the Power Platform. So the Power Platform, probably I might not working really like 100%, but I still want to know what is PCFs are, and how to build them, and how to kind of integrate in case if I'm designing something and some request comes up which is not possible with out of the box platform, I can recommend, okay, we can do this. So things like that. If there are some technology artifact which could be used potentially for the customer or client, I go and at least to learn what is it, how do we use it, where do we use it, and etc. So for the I might not get up to date with that, but I can go back at the time when I have to go and say, okay, what's the latest in this one? So
and understanding the bigger picture things doesn't mean that you're deep diving on things unless you have a project on them. So and I guess that always helps. What pieces fits on which sections of the puzzle? So
yes, exactly.
Cool. I guess from a timing perspective, let's do a quick round on what's happening this week with all of the three of us. And I guess we need to close up for this one. We'll get you back on the show after a few years being an MVP. We'll get back to have a discussion with Ejaz on how it feels like and what has changed.
If anything.
Yes, exactly. But anything interesting happening this week? What's your week is looking like?
I mean, my week is so I am so I've got in terms of the work, or in terms of the outside the work.
Anything
in general.
In general. So so in terms of the work, I would say I'm exploring. I'm doing some workshop on Microsoft Copilot. We are exploring and see how that fits in within the company, etc. So I'm looking forward for that. I'm also looking into Microsoft Chat GPT solutions from the Microsoft. How can we reuse that samples applications? I've recently over the weekend learned biceps. So how can we use the biceps? So that would be interesting. So I'm gonna kind of play back with the team. Or say this is what I learned and how can we reuse this biceps to provision artifacts, and working on some client. I've got long-term clients going on, so I will be working on that for the rest of the week.
Yeah, cool. Makes perfect sense. But what about you, Waldek? Anything interesting?
We've just today we released a new version of Dev Proxy, which supports macOS M 1, 2, and 3. Because apparently we didn't. We missed it, like subtly didn't register with us, and it like makes perfect sense. So we support that now with the latest preview that we have available. We also done quite a few improvements there too, so definitely check it out. What else is new top of mind? We're making some progress so a while back we released a Learn module about extending Copilot for Microsoft 365 with graph connectors, and we're working on modules that will kind of build on that, also with other areas. So how can you do it with plugins? How can you do it with other ways? So stay tuned for that. That's coming I hope in the next few weeks. What else? Just business. Well, yes, this week is end of month, meaning new release of CLI for Microsoft 365. Duh. So that is coming too.
Yeah, a lot of stuff for sure. on my side, actually, something cool. Which is this is going to be released on 13th of January. So we are going to announce the 100% GA availability of the Viva Connection desktop, new desktop experiences. So anybody who's interested on frontline workers and Viva Connection will have new things available. Technically, it's already rolled out, but we're making those announcements on 13th. And then finally, we seem to be GAing the pod part Viva Connection ACs, which is interesting as well, getting that guidance out this week. It's been delayed quite a few times, unfortunately, and a lot of other stuff as well. MVP Summit is coming, all of that is coming. Microsoft 365 conference is coming, a lot of planning in the site. So anybody who's interested, we have cool conferences coming up on Orlando is M365 conference coming up on 13th of April. And then the ECS, if you're this side of the pond in Europe, ECS in Wiesbaden, it's in the mid-May, where there's going to be 2,500, 3,000 people easily attending on that one. So that's going to be really cool as well. Waldek is going to be there as well, right, Waldek?
Nice.
Wait,
well,
what? But cool. Anyway, I think that's it for now. So thank you, Ejaz, joining us. Really cool to have you on the show, and congratulations on MVP.
Thank you very much.
Definitely well deserved. Awesome to have you on the MVP group as well. Your PG leads are, by the way, on this call. So just saying. So.
Yes, we are.
But it's good that we have this connection, so that's how it should be.
Definitely.
Anyway, thank you, Ejaz, on this one.
Thank you.
Within the show, we'll jump on the weekly articles, going through them with Waldek. But thank you, Ejaz, for this one.
Thank you.
Really
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ejaz, on the interview. Awesome to catch up as well. We did meet indeed in Amsterdam. That was an European SharePoint conference, or ESPC. No, it's European SharePoint Microsoft 365 and Azure conference, if I remember correctly, the full name, which is pretty long.
SharePoint 365 and Azure,
yes. So that's happening typically in the late of every single year. I think next year's location was announced.
Sweden.
Yes, Stockholm. That is true. That is true. It's going to be an interesting year as well. A lot of conferences happening this year as well across the world. But before we actually. Well, we don't recap the conferences directly when we're recording, but anyway, so let's jump on the weekly articles. No idea what I'm saying. It's Monday.
So. It's like pop. We're like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
this was not in the script?
Let me check my script. No, it's not on the script. It's not on the script.
It's not in my script.
Yeah, you're inventing things.
Don't say. I'm not going to say any names before we do the articles. I've been a few times in a discussion where certain people come out from Build or Ignite and be like, that was interesting. The person went, pairing people who don't work together, but then marketing and engineering pairing together, and all of a sudden marketing goes completely off the scripts, and then the engineering people are like, what? Or vice versa. Exactly.
Well, so I guess we're doing it.
Exactly. What are you talking about? Okay. Anyway, off the scripts. Anyway, let's jump on the weekly articles. I think we have all of that queued up in this view. There we go. So the super big news from last week is that the Microsoft Mesh is now generally available within Microsoft Teams. So you're actually able to build this immersive virtual worlds, which these are actually really cool. I should have actually done the research because I forget about what was the virtual world name which we bought, which got then shut down, but kind of emerged in here. I can't remember. Anyway, I love the fact that there's a lot of, there's a lot of cool features, like when you're talking within these worlds, the distances between the people have an impact, and you're able to hear, discussions within your back. Yeah. And there's a lot of really, really cool features as you're using this. And this blog post actually was through what's available, how to get started, how does it actually work. It does work within the PC as well, so you can just have the headphones on. You can, of course, use the MetaQuest and VR devices and so on if you prefer to do that. Really, really cool stuff for sure. Have you tested this one, Waldek?
No, so I didn't test Mesh. I think we've tested in our team the Quest workspaces or something.
Okay.
So there is a like native Facebook or Meta app that allows you to do that, and it's really intriguing, right? Because it's exactly as you said. Like we sat along a table, and I could hear the sound of a person sitting next to me from that side at the table. It's like,
yes,
what?
exactly.
So it's really cool. And it's also great that it gives you the ability to map your workspace. But then, like if you're in a room and you don't want to bump into things, you really need to take time to map all of your space. Like where's a table, where's a desk, where you're sitting or stand, where are things. But then once you do that, once you go through the effort, you can come to a whiteboard and just draw at your door or whatever you have. It's really cool. It's not like it just works, right? Because again, it takes effort to practice and to map out your space. But once you go through it, it's an interesting way to kind of bridge the physical limits.
Yes. Exactly. You do feel more to be in the same room and more, present in the same thing. And the cool thing here, obviously,
I guess is the word, right?
Immersive, yes. And of course, the cool thing is that you're able to build your own worlds and experiences and all of that. So every single company can build their own experiences within the mesh as well, using the industry standard gaming tooling, actually. So it's the
there you go. Like next recording of PnP Weekly will be live from Grand Canyon.
Will we really? Let's not make any promises. That would be interesting though to test. Maybe we should actually test it out now that it's G8. Maybe we'll right after this articles we'll do a quick jump on the on one of these worlds, but we'll see. So maybe no promises. Anyway, so that's now G8. That's available worldwide within the customers, and I noticed that there's a 6 months trial for enabling custom mesh experiences within your organization, which is actually 6 months is actually now quite nice. So you're able to test out the value out of that before you are investing and understanding how to get started on doing things. So that's really cool. Now, on the Viva side of the house, there was only one news. There's not that many news from Microsoft right now, which is basically what's new on the Viva Insights. So walking through the latest features in Viva Insights and what's happening over there. There's a lot of cool features here. I really like the Viva Insights, or the what it was called in the past, Delve and Insight, tracking on the amount of things what you're doing and recommendations. There's a lot of interesting scenarios here. Something what I noticed recently, which I however disabled because I tested out for a while, you can use Viva Insights to automatically block your focus times within your calendar. And I wasn't aware of that. That's actually a pretty cool feature. But then
focus time, learning time, catch up on emails. Really
and
cool.
It automatically makes the slots within your calendar for those things, and it's actually pretty cool. But then I as I saw that getting happened, I feel like I'm no longer owning my calendar. It's like no, you can't do this for me.
You can just move things around.
I know. But it's
so much for AI and assistants. No. Get off my lawn. Get off my calendar.
We need to get off my lawn. This is my calendar. But we need to learn to give the computers the rules of doing that as well. So, but the concept is really interesting. I was intrigued by that, but with all due honesty, I disabled that because it's like, no, you cannot make decisions on behalf of me. So.
Suggestions,
angry man yelling in the cloud. Good. Now, embarking seamless journey to Microsoft 365 with our latest enhancements, the Migration Manager. So Migration Manager is a migration tooling, which is basically enabling you to transition from Google Docs or from on-premises or from Box and all of that. And there's updates on that side as well. So awesome to see more and more features and investments in here as well, which is really cool. Now, In the developer Microsoft 365 developer platform side, we had a blog post related on upcoming updates on loading websites in the Teams tabs, and this is a pretty significant change. Actually, the message center guys in here are talking about that one as well, because it is a significant change on the existing behavior. But basically, Loki is going through all of the different changes, what it actually means, and why those changes are being done. Now, I think that's the most important thing as well, being transparent on the reasoning and why these things are being done. And this relates on the security handling and how the chromium and all of that actually happens. But have a look on the blog post. We actually will cover this in the weekly community call as well. So providing additional insights on the what's happening, why is it happening, what is the impact for end users, which is good. We also had an update on the Microsoft 365 developer program, so on what's happening here and how we are evolving that, adding new features and adjusting the program. A few things to notice. So we are dropping the old E3 developer offer. So basically, if you are grandfathered in with the really old E3 developer offer, then those will kind of go away, which is all of that is a kind of a pity, you know, if you used to use a certain tenant URL and then you need to give that away. That always feels bad, right? I've used this tenant URL for this and this many years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but again, so it
well,
is
like what you get in exchange is an E5. So
that is correct.
You get
that
more.
Is correct.
So
that is absolutely correct. And a lot of additional adjustments and details here as well for the thing for the improvements as well. So and early access to new and improved services, which is actually really, really cool. So additional capabilities in the E5 developer tenant. We also had an update on Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code update January 2024. I love this monthly updates on the Teams Toolkit team. Super useful, calling out the things as we're rolling out new features and calling out what's available and adjusted. So, which is really, 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 really cool. Calling out the samples, calling out the CLI updates and all of that as well. And a lot of bug fixes getting fixed as well. So thank you, John Lee, on that one. Cute. And then we had an update from Joe, Carter, and Ankit related on a pro code guide to build your custom Copilot faster. And this is, again, a relatively long blog post, but a lot of insights on the thinking and the positioning in general for Microsoft, where we are heading and how we're looking into making these things also in future. So when to use what and when to use which and all of that stuff. So a lot of interesting insights on the future of our AI investments in Microsoft 365. Now let's move into the blog community side of the house. Kasper Larsen from Fellow Mind. Yes. Trying to memorize where people are working. This is getting complicated. I had a blog post on fix one of the problems in Microsoft SharePoint Search, make titles sortable, and he's basically providing insights on the search configuration. Kasper is nowadays working closely with all of the search capabilities with Mikael Svensson and helping this from a community side. Just recently got an MVP as well, which congratulations on that. Now, Mahmoud Hassan had two LinkedIn posts or blog posts, whatever we call these posts. I think that's posts.
It's just post. It's a post.
One is the Copilot for Microsoft 365 plugins public preview. What do you need to know and do? I need to call this out. It's not anymore public preview, isn't it, Waldek?
I don't think it is. I think it's GA now. Anyways, things change, dates change,
Yes, that is true. So walking through all of the different, what it actually means and how to enable and all of that stuff and references. So thank you for that one. And then there was another one from him, which is a Microsoft Copilot, so Copilot's Unified Architecture 1.2. So this is information related on how the unified architecture looks like. Oops, I don't want to go in. Let's go one step back. So basically how it looks like and what are the different things. Not sure actually who has drawn that picture. Is it coming from Microsoft or not? But it seems pretty accurate. So the one thing what I have to say this, because I at some point we were like, yeah, there's 178 whatever Copilots across the blah, blah, blah. Technically, there's one. there's Microsoft Copilot, and then we're using and surfacing that in a multiple different ways. So the architecture is exactly the same. Now, where do we surface that? How do we configure that? What is the system prompts and adjustments? All of that. That depends. The architecture is unified across the Copilot, and then we're just surfacing that in different areas. So it's just the right way of thinking that. So that's how I would actually explain that. So
yeah.
Which would make more sense as well than having 189 separate things with separate experiences.
Maybe to get back to the statement we made about preview, they are in preview. So plugins are in preview. Yeah.
Thank you for confirming that. That's actually really good. Good to know. When is it gonna go GA, Waldek?
When it's ready.
When it's ready. Okay, got it. Mark Jansen from Synpraxis Consulting had a new blog post related on SharePoint site swap fails, but a fallback position. So this basically means how you are able to flip the root site within your tenant, which is actually quite often quite important thing to do, so to say. So not that it's required, but quite often people consider the home site or the landing site as the root site within the SharePoint.com. So basically having that one as the root site, and then using the swap, you can actually take a site collection with the different sub URL to flip that to be the root site. There are, however, implications and considerations of how to make that happen and what works and what he's basically walking through the different scenarios and objectives or the observations what he had as he was running this trip. So thank you, Mark, on sharing that. Now, we talked about the 365 Message Center show, changes to website tab in the Teams create a big impact. So they have a podcast and a video about the latest episode 318 on that one, and also new other updates as well. This one is a big impactful thing, so it's good to be aware because it is a clear change for end users as well. It will be visible as a change for them. So good to be aware of that. Now, Paolo had a new video, episode 276, examples of using Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 in Microsoft Teams. That's actually good, really good. So examples, use cases on that one inside of the Teams. Makes perfect sense. Summarizing, recapping, intelligence recap, all of that. So really good stuff on how to get started with that. And 7 minutes. That's a quite optimal time length. April Dunnan had a video on the top 5 superpowers of Copilot Pro. What is Copilot Pro? That's what she's covering it through there as well. But recapping that, what is Copilot Pro? How do you define Copilot Pro?
Well, there you go. If you want to know more, watch this video. You'll find out.
Yes, it's the consumer side of the Copilot. So the Copilot for Microsoft 365 is the business side, enterprise side, and Copilot Pro is the paid consumer side of the Copilot. So good. Shane had a video on Power Apps upcoming features and other settings, so configure options there, and walking through the different settings like the upcoming features. So it's not about upcoming features in Power Platform, it's the upcoming features setting within the configuration and how you can actually adjust those settings. So it's good to know what those things are. Synpraxis Consulting had a video on page templates. That's a really short video title, but basically this is about SharePoint page templates and how they actually work, and learning how to use them. And what's the difference, for example, between the news templates and non-news templates, because we have the standard templates and then we have the news templates as well, made for email. So not news template, made for email and then standard templates. So be aware of those. And if you create a page based on made for emails, then you have a subset of web parts versus.
Don't spill the beans. Don't spill the beans. People need to watch the video.
But it's okay. Fine.
No, people need to watch the video. Don't spill the beans.
See the video. And then the last one is from Andrew Connells around sharing code with SharePoint Framework projects, NPM versus library components. 2 different ways of sharing code across multiple SPFX projects. Both of them work, both of them support it, both of them have advantages and disadvantages on how to build things. So, and AC's opinions going through on this one. Classic discussion with AC on that particular topic, but let's not go into too much details on that.
Watch the video.
watch the video. Okay. And get your own comments and recommendations below. So on the video. Cool. I guess we went through what's happening this week. That's all done. Went through all of the weekly articles. Not that many articles from Microsoft. Are we waiting for a big bang, massive amount of news coming pretty soon? I don't know. So, and I wouldn't be able to.
We will see.
We will
Let's
see.
stay tuned. Yeah, exactly. Let's see, where the wind carries us.
That's true. That is true. Well, I know that I will publish quite a few blog posts this week in some of those channels. So we should have a lot of new stuff for next week.
Perfect.
Cool. Anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Thank you, Ejaz, one more time. Please use hashtag PnP Weekly in Twitter if you're on Twitter X, whatever. Or we are checking the LinkedIn as well. Hashtag PnP Weekly. If you add on the LinkedIn message, we'll catch that one as well. But I guess that's it. Thank you, Waldek.
That's it. Thank you, Vesa. See you next week.
See you next week. Cheers. Bye-bye.